does it look like? Good afternoon, everyone. Meteorologist Jordan Darensbourg here. I hope everyone has been nice and dry on this Saturday. And the reason I'm coming on live right now is because we are tracking a severe warned storm. This is for northern sections of Burnett County. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this full to kind of show you guys what we're talking about here. This is for northern Burnett, or actually northern Blanco County. This does include Johnson City. And we're really watching this very, very closely because we're starting to see not only a very impressive hail core with this storm, but, well, it was impressive. The hail has started to weaken just slightly over the past couple of scans. However, what I also wanted to show you guys is an area of rotation that we're starting to see a little bit. It's a pretty broad area of rotation. It's pretty much right on top of Highway 281, just north of Johnson City. But it is a broad area of rotation you're starting to see, and it's pretty much right in there. So we do have a bit of a rotation with this particular storm just to the north of Johnson City. But if you're in Blanco County, northern Blanco County, just along and east of Highway 281, if you're along that little Colorado River, that Llano River there, that's where you want to make sure that you are staying inside. And not only that, if you're in southeastern Burnett County along Highway 71, this doesn't include you guys in Marble Falls, but it does include you guys out in Spicewood along that Colorado River. This storm's going to be moving off to the northeast at around 35 miles an hour. So I'm going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to draw this line out for you just a little bit. And there you see it, and they've just edited the warning right there, and it is for just Blanco and Burnett counties now. Gillespie County, you are now out of the warning. The system has moved out of you guys over in Gillespie. But looking at the times right now, we're looking at Cypress Mill just after 3:45, Spicewood as we get closer to 4 o'clock, and then Briarcliff at around 5:06, and then Laga Vista just getting closer to 4:15. So we're going to really watch this very, very closely, folks, because we're starting to see a little bit of that rotation with this storm. And we're going to go ahead and let's look at that velocity vector as well. And ooh, looks a little more impressive from this particular scan. And there you see where that rotation is. It's just off to the east of Johnson City. So starting to see that rotation move due east, and it could be making its way into western sections of Travis County, maybe even getting closer to Lake Travis or Lake Austin as we head throughout the course of the later portions of the afternoon, depending on if this system holds together. Now, I do want to mention that we have had some of these storms kind of pulse up and then kind of weaken again, and it's been a never-ending cycle. But the crazy thing is, the atmosphere appears to have recovered quickly enough to where we can get some of those stronger storms, because remember, the hill country saw some good bits of rain earlier this morning. So despite the heavier rain and the atmosphere being worked earlier this morning, it's getting worked once again as this particular line of storms makes its way through. And again, we're really tracking the potential of some of that rotation. And it's still broad, which is good news, but we really need to watch that very, very closely, especially off to the northeast of Johnson City. So let's go ahead and let's put this back up full, and we're going to show you where we're talking about here. It's right just east of Johnson City now, right there just east of Highway 281 and 290, and it's going to be making that northeasterly track. I'm going to put the northeasterly track right on the area of rotation so that we can really show everybody what's going on with this particular system. We're at Pedernales Falls State Park at 3:42. We're looking at Hamilton Pool getting closer to 3:55. Spicewood at 4 on the dot, and then Laga Vista at around 4:13, and then Laga Vista High as we get closer to 4:15. So we're going to be continuing to watch this very, very closely. But the hail core, let's look at this latest scan. Again, the hail core has really started to weaken a little bit. But again, we're starting to see a little bit of rotation. And let's go ahead and let's back up a little bit, because to kind of show you guys what we're talking about with the pulsing up and down. There you see it, right as this warning was issued. Look at how strong that particular hail core was just north of 290 west of Johnson City. It was around 1.5 inches of diameter at that particular point. But as we move forward, there you see the pulsing effect. It pulses up, but then starts to weaken the hail core as it gets closer to Johnson City. But again, we've got some rotation with that storm that I'm really going to be becoming a little more concerned about with this one. And let's look at a different radar site. This is from New Braunfels. New Braunfels doesn't really capture the rotational area as well as the Fort Cavazos radar does, but I'm seeing a good little bit of rotation from this particular storm. So I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is, for those of us who aren't on the live right now, I'm going to share this to my Facebook and Twitter pages. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mention, hey, we're starting to see some rotation. This is severe warned. It's not tornado warned at this time, but I mean, we're definitely going to watch it. It is a broad area of rotation, but we still need to pay close attention to it. So right now, what we're seeing, of course, is that area of rotation. It's now shifted a little bit further off to the east with that latest scan, but again, we're going to be watching that very, very, very closely. All right, so I'm going to share this real quick. Oh, here we go. All right, now it's shared. All right, so like I just talked about, we do have that severe warned storm over Blanco and southeastern Burnett County, which does include Johnson City. It also includes Spicewood. I wouldn't be surprised if this got expanded in the western sections of Travis County, so places like Briarcliff, Hamilton Pool, maybe even Steiner Ranch, maybe even Laga Vista could be involved in this warning as well. I don't think it's going to make it into the Dripping Springs area, but we're going to watch this very, very closely for you. Now, we're going to also take a look at the severe weather outlook for today, because right now, and I'm going to put myself in boxes here, we're currently in a 2 out of 5 slight risk for everyone in the KVUE viewing area, which means we do have a slightly heightened risk for some stronger storms, and we're mainly thinking of the damaging wind variety. But as we move into Sunday, as that system starts to make its way out, that second line that I'm going to show you in a moment, that's going to be moved on off to the east, and it's only a marginal risk for portions of the coastal plains. Right now, we're taking a look downtown, and we are in those lower 60s at the UT campus as well as in North Austin. And there you see that frontal boundary that we're talking about here. And you're seeing the temperatures mainly in the upper 50s, lower 60s across much of the immediate area. But here are those severe threats as we were talking about. It's mainly going to be damaging winds. But again, we are watching that area of rotation over in portions of northern Blanco County. And as we continue to go hour by hour, and I'm going to take this full, by the way, to kind of show you guys what we are talking about here, because there you see the better chances of some of those storms as we head through your Saturday evening. Actually, the chances are starting to diminish a little bit, but then as we head through your Sunday morning, it's at around 2 a.m. That's when that second line of storms makes its way through, and then there it is by around 6 a.m. That frontal boundary makes its way through. maybe a few stronger storms in the Austin metro at that point. But by the time we get to 9:30, 10 o'clock, that's when things should start to clear out. So again, as we were talking about, and I think this is very, very important that we need to be really watching this very, very closely with this particular storm over portions of Blanco and Burnett counties. Let me drag this down to kind of show y'all. We got a new scan. Let's see what the velocity looks like from this. I think that's not the one we're looking for. Oh yeah, it's starting to look a little more broken with that. So the rotation does look like it's weakening, which is really good news. But again, I really want y'all to pay attention very, very closely over the next, say, few minutes as we get ready to watch very closely how everything starts to pop up. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share this to my actual page real quick, this live on Facebook to my actual page. Sylvia, hello, good evening, everyone, be safe, yes. Maziar, that's a very good question, as a matter of fact. Let's look at some rainfall accumulations west of I-35. Let's see where some of the heaviest rain has started to pop up. So we've seen quite a bit of rain so far, but let's take a look at some of the accumulation values to see where we're at right now. Doesn't look too bad across portions of the hill country. Actually looks pretty healthy. And we've got some areas that got some healthy totals. Burnett County, this is right on top of Lake Buchanan. Radar estimated around 2.6 inches for those areas. So a little over 2.5 inches for areas right along Lake Buchanan. And all that's going to eventually flow into Lake Travis unless the ground soaks it up. So to answer your question, Maziar, it depends on whether or not it falls right on top of a tributary and where we get good flows out of it. Now we've got another one in southeastern Mason that got around 2.2 inches according to our radar estimation, and then this is right on top of the Llano River, almost 3 inches on top of the Llano River right there, just southeast of Fredericksburg. So really, really good. So Sun City, Debbie is asking about Sun City. That would be further down the line, and it depends on how that storm holds together. And so we're going to go back to the warning. And TJ, that is possible. We are going to watch the progress of that storm closely to see if Western Travis or Wilco are going to be involved with any warnings here. So it's definitely possible. But if Wilco gets a warning, it could involve Sun City, because there you see heading off to the northeast, that could include Leander, that could include Sun City. And I'm going to zoom this out a little further to kind of show y'all what we're talking about here. So this is around, I'm going to put it out around an hour and a half. And it's looking at Hamilton Pool 358. It's looking at Spicewood at 406. And we've got Leander just after 4:30. And Hutto as we get closer to 5 o'clock. And then Jonah at 5:07. So yeah, Sun City possibly, but we just got to make sure that this thing holds together before we can definitively say it is headed your way if you're in Sun City. Salado, I do think y'all are getting a few of those scattered storms right now. Jessica, Rico, this storm should miss Pflugerville for the most part. Brandon, Kyle, looks like this storm is not going to be making its way through Kyle, this particular system. Looks like areas south of the Austin metro are going to be left out for the most part from this particular storm. But again, we're going to need to watch this very, very closely. TJ, Liberty Hill, yes, also in the path, looking at around, I would say around 4:30, 4:45 for you guys in Liberty Hill. Let's see, what else? We're checking through our NWS chat to see if we have a severe warning storm. Doesn't look like we have one at this time, but again, we're going to watch this very, very closely. Again, if you're just joining us, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning. This is for Blanco and southeastern Burnett County. This does include the city of Johnson City. However, Johnson City the storm just passed through Johnson City, or just north of it, and we're tracking the potential for hail, as you can see by this hail core right there, which is really weakened. But as we take a look at the velocity vector from the Fort Cavazos radar, over a couple of scans ago, we got some good rotation, but this storm looks like it's starting to weaken. So this is good news here. So we're going to watch this very, very closely, and we're going to see whether or not the National Weather Service down in New Braunfels, whether or not they cancel this warning or simply just extend it into Travis for a little bit of time. Now, this is Lake Travis right about here, and I'm going to draw where Lake Travis is right there. Any extension into Travis County would likely include Lake Travis. So if you're by there, I would watch this storm very, very closely and make sure you bring your boats in if you're watching live on a boat on Lake Travis, which is very much maligned but could really use a lot of the rain associated with it. Now, I'm going to go ahead real quick and take some of your questions as I have over the past few minutes. Let's see. Debbie talked about Sun City. We talked about that. Rico, we talked about Pflugerville. Jessica, we talked about Salado and Liberty Hill. We talked about that. So if y'all have any more questions, be sure to fire away real quick. It does look like the storm is, yeah, to gain down the mic. Edward, I have no idea what you're talking about. But I'll lower the mic just a little bit if you feel like it's a little loud. I know some people like to check that just a little bit. Hopefully it's a little better for you if that's what you mean by that. But I think the sound should be a little lower there this time for you. I know very loud sounds can really cause some issues there. Ashley, welcome. Thank you for just joining us. Is there hail? Let's look at the hail core right now. Not a lot. I don't think there is any hail with this storm, which is good. But when we scroll this back, and I'm going to take this full, by the way, we're going to see where we had that hail start to pulse up over the past hour. And there it is, right there, just west of Johnson City. And that's what I think prompted the warning. When the National Weather Service saw that hail core start to pulse up, that's when that warning was issued. Because if you remember Round Rock, we had some pretty significant hail that caused serious issues. And we've just gotten word that the National Weather Service has in fact canceled the severe thunderstorm warning. So the severe warning is canceled. So good news on that front. It looks like the storm has weakened to a point where a severe thunderstorm warning is no longer necessary. That's definitely good news, but keep it here to KVUE. We are going to have the latest. I'm going to be on starting at 5, 6, and 10 with Hannah Rucker and Jeff Jones in sports starting at 6 as well as at 10. And for now, meteorologist Jordan Darensbourg, we'll see you then.